All right, whatever. Mark, you gotta please. Anyway,
There's a caller in here.
Vice versa virtue. Where are you calling from?
Calling from Newport News, Virginia.
From Virginia as well?
Yeah.
Do you live near Bristow?
That's like way far away. It's like 2.5, 3 hours away.
Well,
So I don't go up there.
Sorry, you can't be friends with. It looks really beautiful there. I'm looking at a picture of it. It's there's some forest.
Dude, that's so creepy. You Google where people are from as soon as they tell you.
Yeah.
He instantly grabs his IP address and Googles their homes.
I want
Yeah, what the hell?
I want to visualize myself as that person, you know, like what are they taking in? What is their life like? You know, who are they? I try to connect with people, Mark. That's my big thing. Vice versa virtue, what do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I wanted to talk about how the TSM Akaadian situation seems like it's very similar to the 100 Thieves Cody Sun situation, except everyone's kind of giving them a pass because of their history with their wins, especially considering all the information that came out from Dom and Loco and how kind of Parth responded to that. It seems like it's kind of what OP TSM fan was talking about last week, where something seemed off. And for those who aren't aware, Dom and Loco brought up that, you know, it seemed like there were some team synergy issues, particularly between Akaadian and Sven, and then TSM came out and said that wasn't it, but there's a bunch of things that seem like they just don't correlate or add up correctly.
All right, everyone watching right now, go wake up your family, go message your friend. This is the TSM topic. All right, we're in it. This is the part. This is what you all tune in for.
You tied in 100 Thieves from last year. Now Amazing's really he's got both. Exactly. He's got both sides of the story.
I have to really handle my PR well, you know, like it's gonna be tough.
Amazing's about to pull the Ethernet cable and be like, "Oh, sorry, my internet went out. I don't know what happened. It's normally so solid. I don't know."
This episode title is not 100 Thieves, you know, amazing. It's XTSM Jungler amazing. Comments on
XTSM Jungler amazing.
No. I mean,
okay. So make your case. Vice versa virtue. Go ahead and elaborate on your take.
Okay, so if I seem like I'm stuttering, it's because I have like a little note sheet of just what's going on.
No, it's fine. I love when you guys always prepare yourself ahead of time. I love it.
Yeah, so everyone's aware that, you know, Grig and Akaadian split time for summer split. On July 16th, Akaadian was named the starter. And then for week 9, Azale's tweet said that Spica was starting. There was no information about that until after the fact. And everyone just seems confused by it.
Yeah, Zale announced it.
Yeah. Screw him for leaking information out to everybody.
Well, it was on the website, right? Like
you didn't. Are you saying that ironically, or are you actually one of those people?
Okay.
No, that's completely ironic.
Okay, good.
But yeah. So like how OPTSM fan was talking about last week, something seemed like it's off. And my hot take is maybe it's Parth, right? Parth's been there since 2017. There was issues with apparently behind the scenes with Akaadian, because you can see it in TSM Legends episode 11, where they tell him, like, you know, you don't have to sacrifice everything for your team. You don't have to be a slave because you're not a slave, which feeds into the whole, you know, line of theory that Bjergsen just wants a ward and wants him to tunnel. So after everything happens, Parth comes out with his long statement, but it seems like some things are missing or don't make sense. He says that, you know, Akaadian and Grig, they were splitting time because they saw, you know, positives in each, but they ended up taking Akaadian because of his mental fortitude. And then 11 days later is when Peter Zhang is brought up from Academy, and they moved Goldman to Academy to help with drafts. And then the following week is when Akaadian, I guess, his mental fortitude that he was so strong with is what causes him to lose the starting job after they had swapped him in and out for 6 weeks with Grig. So they keep saying that there's these other things that are going on behind the scenes that they want to talk about.
It sounds like you don't believe Parth.
Correct. That's exactly.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah. So.
PR.
Yeah. So when Loco and Dom were talking about it, Loco, as soon as Dom starts talking about it, Loco says that he was aware that it was going on, but was just going to wait for someone else to bring it up. and TSM has kind of countered that by saying that they think they know who it is, which was I guess it's Albert Cohen, a former analyst who did scripts for stats and things like that.
Sure. And then
but
Dom said it wasn't.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
was that guy at the party if he's a former analyst?
Yeah, exactly. But even Albert came out and said that what was happening, the dynamic between Akaadian and Sven was overblown. He said, yeah, it happened, but that's how things get heated, is at least what the Eucrit article made it seem like. So I didn't see it there. But the reaction with, here's some of the things in Parth's statement that I have some concerns with.
Yeah, he said go through it somewhat quickly because I want to dive in.
Yeah. He said, I believe Greg was a better jungler. He had more strategy and better time using him. But again, remember, he had his wrist issue in spring. But Akaadian integrated well into the split. He took them aside at the beginning of the split, and so they had opportunities to go elsewhere. They both wanted to stay with the team to duke it out. They felt that there was a weakness with team play with Akaadian as well as Greg. So that's why, and they believe Akaadian's issue was personal. But in it says that it was a conversation between him and Simon and David, but at no point does it say they directly talked to Akaadian about it. And then after that is when they make the decision to pull Spica up, as it seems like a Hail Mary at the end of the season.
Yeah, but none of that sound like, I don't hear anything there that seems like you're contradicting, or are you just saying you wish that they had handled it differently?
Tag me in.
Yeah.
Tag me in. Because I kind of agree where, like, there's a lot of things here where I can't tell if it is, Parth just kind of stream of consciousness writing this and not.
It did seem very stream of conscious, which was what was surprising to me, because there were like typos and like weirdly worded sentences there, and I'm like, I thought you wanted an essay. You didn't even proofread this shit.
Right. So part of me is like, it's that, but I think it does a weird job of like what it's saying. So, for instance, in the entire thing, he doesn't use Zix's name, which is weird to me.
Yeah.
You would think at some point in this whole thing about all these conversations going on, Zix's name would have cropped up. Simon crops up. David, Peter Zhang, fucking Albert Cohen pops up, but we never hear Zix's name, which is weird to me. And to be fair, if you read this and fine comb through everything, Parth does, most of it is GM work, where, he's the one who's saying like, hey, if you guys want to go elsewhere, you can. As the GM, you're the guy, deciding ultimately maybe the roster, and you're the one who has to kind of make those decisions.
Sure.
So maybe it was Zix who said, let's run a 7-man or 6-man roster or something. And Parth's like, okay, well, I'll talk to them and make sure it's cool. And then, maybe it's Zix, Simon, and David who talk to him and say, we can't win with this jungler. Akaadian's doomed. Fuck it, we got to go find something else. And then he, as the GM, is like, all right, let me go talk to the Academy staff and Peter and Spica and see if we can bring them up. Like, these are all things that hypothetically I can see being the responsibility of just a GM, and he's not really overstepping, or not even over. I don't know what the situation is, but like, he's not taking on coaching responsibilities hypothetically. But the fact that none of this is ever mentioning your head coach of your team is so weird to me. It's a massive red flag where I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm really confused by how little Zix seems to be involved nowadays. Like, maybe that's just like from interpreting it in the TSM Legends, and like obviously Peter Zhang coming up. I don't quite understand I honestly just don't kind of understand the hierarchy anymore. Like, everything that is happening within TSM like was like so clearly defined before the season started, right? They had Greg and Akaadian being basically the journalists that they were going to use, right? Then they had Zix, who was the head coach, Peter Zhang was the academy coach, and they had like Goldman, I think, and Lasport as their coaching staff beyond like Zix.
Right.
Suddenly you have Reggie coming in. Suddenly you have like the next game, Peter Zhang coming in. Suddenly you have like a sports psych that they also have. So now it feels like, well, what I'm just confused by is like who actually made the decision, because I think actually, honestly, I don't think anyone actually did the decision. It's more like a mutual thing where all the coaches were like, yeah, let's just do that. That's at least what I feel. And what's more confusing to me is like how they judged it and how quickly they judged all of it. Mm-hmm. And I honestly don't understand how you can judge certain players by single performances or by scrims. Greg had like a 100% win rate until Rift Rivals. Kenny had like a sub 50% win rate the whole year, like the whole split. And then Spico is like at 50, or like now with playoffs like at 20% win rate.
But I mean, we should say, there's also scrims and practice and all that stuff, right? It's not like they're only making this decision off of what's happening on the stage.
Yeah, but then you're trolling.
Yeah, I mean, like scrims are weird sometimes.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. My scrim rate, even at my best, in TSM was really high. In Origin, it was actually pretty low. But like a 40% win rate, like at certain times, we just I entered a lot of scrims, Mithy entered a lot of scrims, Source entered a lot of scrims. If after every single scrim, right, or after every single scrim day or scrim week, we would have had someone above us that would have told us, yeah, you're not doing well in scrims, we're gonna get a replacement. I think Origin would have had 25 members or something like that, I think we would have cycled through everyone at least 5 times, I'm sure. So I'm just really confused by how they judge players nowadays, and I'm really confused by how they judge personalities, because honestly, I think the team looked good with Greg. I think the team looked good with Akaadian. Not as good as with Greg. I think Greg actually was the one that was performing the most consistent or the best on stage. I think Akaadian came next, and now Spica's next. So basically, you have the one that was performing the least well on stage now playing on stage, because coaches decided that would be the thing. So I'm like, what does he actually go with that? Is it like keep on building up power moves, or are you just stressed? Are you scared to lose? Is that what it is? And that's why you keep like cycling through junglers, or is there like a bigger issue at hand that is actually like the background thing that was kind of mentioned by Dom and Loco, I guess, where what if there's actually like something going on behind the scenes that people just can't talk about,
Yeah.
And I think at this point that it feels like it's actually more coaches than anything that happened behind the scenes. I think it's more or less the inability of the overarching coaching staff to actually make the right call right now, or making too many hasty calls within a short period of time. That's at least my take.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just Zix though, right? Because you have Woodbuck all the way back a couple of years ago saying that TSM always focused on short-term fixes instead of anything long-term.
But Woodbuck was there for like a split.
Yeah, I know.
I'll just say this: Woodbuck seems like a nice enough guy, but 100 TSM fans seem to dredge Woodbuck's random comments up years and years later. I just don't buy I don't think he's a good source for insight into TSM.
I like Travis is saying, he seems like a cool dude from everything I've seen from him, but it was clearly someone the shoe did not fit. Came from the traditional sports world. They thought, hey, this will be great to implement, and he was just clearly out of his depth in League of Legends in terms of his ability to build trust with players, probably due to his, through no fault of his own, he was a former baseball coach. We tried the same thing once at Team Liquid, where we hired a former football coach guy, and the hiring from the traditional sports world just doesn't work. It flat out has never worked.
He can't be the leading man. He has to be a supportive force. That's what I think.
And that's what's kind of happened, is people have taken on the sports psychologist role for these people as opposed to the head coach role, which is where it failed for a lot of the teams who tried it early on. A lot of people have since come into the esports scene, some of them from traditional sports background. Daler was a coach, Weldon's a sports psychologist. But a lot of them kind of worked their way up into it. They were not handed the keys right away. And Daler is fucking good at League even. He was Diamond 1 or something. He wasn't a nobody kind of thing.
And he wasn't hard pressed to actually make something happen within the first split. He had 2 rookies coming in with Huni and Rainover, or 2, I guess. 1 rookie and Huni, and then he had Steelback too. And he wasn't really forced to be the best coach from the get-go. They actually gave him a lot of time. And he actually took that time to actually listen to the players, because I had conversations with him and the players at that point, and he didn't have to do anything. In the beginning, he was listening and then started to understand, oh, this is League of Legends at a competitive level, and this is what I want to do. And I think, he was a really special case, and I think everyone who just thinks that they can emulate or imitate whatever they were doing back then, good luck.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got a little off topic there, but
I want to push us further off topic. Unless, Mark, you have a thing you want to say.
Oh, I was going to get back into what happened this season, because I just don't like using random examples from previous seasons.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they do hold up, but oftentimes they don't.
My point was, I was just going to lead into the fact that it seems that that's very true, right? 2018 is the first time where they didn't make Worlds, right? So if there's ever a time for a perfect reset, like how normal sports organizations go and they reset everything and do it. It seems very short-sighted on still, hey, we have Bjergsen, we have Sven, we need to get it and we need to make it work this year. But starting Spica the week before playoffs seems like it's very short-term. And then my biggest issue with everything is Parth's admission that, it was his bad. They didn't tell Akaadian before this information got out. He talked to him about it over lunch. But everything else that's been said about the situation isn't true, except, or it's being overblown. But you know what? Yeah, my bad. This didn't happen.
Yeah, actually, I'm so glad, because I was about to bring that up since we were on this topic. I think that's the area where I would fault Parth the most, and I think it's kind of interesting because he kind of breezes over it and almost tends to try to like blame Azael without saying Azael's name for it. But like, I don't know, when you're submitting roster stuff and Riot takes fucking forever to do anything, and they have enough time to update their website and like make that information public, and you still haven't told your player, I feel like that's on you.
Azael even waited a day. He said like he got the information, was like holy shit, and then like waited a day and then tweeted it.
Oh god.
So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that is rough. Like, that's the weird thing, interesting thing to me, because we were talking about this. There are so many coaches, and there's Parth. There's all these people attached on the support staff, and nobody had the time to like be like, by the way, Akaadian. Okay, now it's just a crotch shot, Mark. We need to
give me a second, dude. Like, what do you think? I got fucking 4 cameras ready for all the different angles my cat's gonna show up.
Yeah, thank you. That's what drives the show. Either way, so I think that's the thing, and I think people drawing. I mean, it's bad that I'm the one saying this, because in a second Twitch chat's gonna be like, meh. But I think people drawing comparisons to the fact that like Peter found out through Reddit that he was not going to be on TSM. Akaadian finds out through this tweet that he's not starting. It's like, look, there's a communication issue over there that needs to be resolved.
Well, that happened with Bjergsen too, right? It got tweeted out that TSM was requiring Bjergsen, and then Indy said, no, we're not. And then it came out that he was. Yeah. Same like you said with the Sven and Mithy leak for last year. But my only problem with the whole Akaadian thing is, yeah, I get if there's personal things going on, but this is the same team that announced on Twitter that they were benching Brandini from Academy because of personal issues or behavioral issues.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no comments whatsoever about Akaadian until this gets announced. So something doesn't add up. Like, it's okay for them to be clear and communicate with one, but not the other.
Well, so you brought up the 100 Thieves thing, and I just want to say a statement like Parth's would have gone a long way in the
Cody Sun situation.
Yeah. The Cody Sun situation. Like, I do think these are different, where at least like TSM is somewhat attempting to give clarification, even if we're all sitting here dissecting it line by line and what things.
Although worth noting, they only did it after like all this Dom stuff went haywire and all that shit. Like, and Akaadian came out. Like it would have been nice if they'd done that before all of that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can get away without a controversy, you try it. But then once it shows up, you're like, all right, we gotta address it. Whereas 100 Thieves was just like double down on silence.
Yeah.
So. The other thing that they glossed over very quickly, or Parth did, I should say, in this, was just like, after week 6, he starts slumping in all aspects of his play. I believe the reason to be personal in nature and unrelated to the team based off my conversation with some people. He was in a slump. And then, like, they kind of just, like, didn't really get into what... Like, I understand you don't want to speculate about your player's personal life. I'm not saying Parth should have said more there, but like as a fan reading that, I'm like, okay, clearly something happened to this kid.
Yeah.
And like you all live and work with the guy. Someone knows what happened to him. It's not like a mystery. And like a lot of people, people talk and stuff. So like, who knows? Maybe it is the Sven thing that crushed. Who knows? I don't fucking know. But like something happened here. And that's why I think it's so weird, is because they're like, yeah, in week 5 we said he's the man, or week 4, whenever it was, and then week 6 and week 7 we had to start pulling the plug on him. So
I'm just entirely confused by the fact that, he may have slumped, he may have played worse, he had a couple of bad games, whatever it is. But it's not like he was the only one.
Yeah.
So what I'm confused by is that like he gives someone like first of all, you have him compete for the spot with a jungler that hasn't played in half a year, right? Grig hasn't played in half a year. He may have played some scrims, but you have no idea about how he plays on stage. And the other guy brought you to the finals. Then you announce this guy as the main guy because you're just more confident in him. And then as soon as he's somewhat like struggling, doing badly, whatever it is, you exchange him for someone that is like completely unrelated to the team within that very moment. And it's like, I mean, something must have happened, and I can only speculate as much as any other guy. And I also don't want to like add fuel to the fire, because I do have like some professional courtesy to not like say something about other players, even if you know stuff. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I like something must have happened, and I don't think they handled it really well, because no matter what, a player should not be cut immediately after you tell him that he's the. It doesn't work that way. And no matter what, I feel bad for the guy, and I know I cannot support such behavior, and I feel really bad on a professional level for him, because if I was in that spot, Jesus, I would have probably been like, I would have been mad enough, probably like just let my opinion be known, whether it's on social media or something like that, because I'm that kind of person. I will for sure like done something about it. I'm just really confused by how it was handled overall, and how little anyone from them takes responsibility for it. And that's basically what I'm kind of thinking about. Hey, you just basically publicly kind of low-key ruined someone's career, right? You talked about that he has personal issues, and that's why he slumped, and then you basically kick him off a team for a rookie jungler. It's bad in the public light, and that's what I'm really concerned with.
Right. Well, I think that's a good point. Like, because they don't give us any real context into what went wrong, you know, they brought up a bunch of points about, you know, context before what happened and kind of after what happened, but not what actually happened. You know, we're left here speculating, like, what about him is so bad that it's worth taking a risk with a rookie jungler who you've never played with on your team before, right? Like, is he that much of a fucking trash can player that, like, you have to do this? You know, and
the Sven rumor would have almost made more sense than, like, what actually came out, right? If you're like, these two people fucking hated each other and we made a decision to send one person away, like, that almost, you can understand that more than like the situation that it did end up popping up.
Yeah, just team chemistry didn't work out, and we wanted to give it another try in order to get the best out of the team, like in the long term. Like, that would have been like a perfect announcement, gone with it, everyone understands, good, you know?
Yeah.
But he just don't do it. Like, so I don't understand, because it was actually like kind of framed in a way that Spica was already better for the short term. He clearly isn't, you know. So
yeah, that and then the other thing that was weird was, like, they thought they overperformed in spring, but they went on like an 8-1 run and then had to do all that. Like, maybe they did overperform a little bit, but like, wouldn't it be better to try to set yourself up to try and overperform again than to do this?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And like the fact that they didn't even have him as one of the two subs for playoffs, which Dom on the latest face check said he and Parth have talked about stuff, and Parth gave him some more context and basically told him that they brought Treats and Tactical or put them on as subs was because he felt bad with all the drama in the academy where they benched Brandini, had to move Grig, they stole their academy jungler up to LCS and made them play with all these other people, and he felt bad for them, so that's why they listed them as subs.
I mean, either way, you're still
like,
saying you're not.
Oh god, you know, like, I mean, you know, the more even that, if that's actually what he said, then like, does he not feel bad for Akaadian? Like, oh yeah, I guess. I mean, he brought us to finance. Get it on. It's fine. We're good. You know, we don't need that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think, and that's like something I've noticed, like, especially recently, and I think that's something that like may have come with the fact that like, it used to be like players, coaches, same level kind of, like, and then maybe sometimes like a bit of elevation, but now you have like coach, manager, then you have CGO, CEO, like investor, like, and then I mean, you know, but my point is that, like, yes, it feels like that teams become less and less personal, and it really hurts the individual player. It's more business more than it's actually about the individual player, and I don't understand why that has been happening. It's not just TSM, it's actually a lot of teams where I've seen it, where people just get cut, right? Suddenly they get cut and you don't even hear anything about it, you don't know anything about it, and suddenly it's like, what happened, you know? Like, and I think, for example, remember with the Echo Fox, where like Phoenix get cut, and like day before the training.
Yeah.
So I feel like what someone's forgetting, and like or what sometimes being forgot, is that these players are human beings, right? They're actually whatever they must have done within that short moment to deserve to be kicked. It requires at least some kind of talk about it, like apologies, whatever it is about it, because you can't just treat players that disposable. It shines a really bad light on both obviously the teams, but also on the players themselves. Because like if you tell someone, okay, this guy's hella replaceable, we don't give a shit, he's just gone, and that's it, that's the end of it. Like, what are you telling the other teams, right? You're telling them that this guy is bad, he has done something terrible, don't hire him. That's basically the signal you give to the outside, right? You're not honoring what you're supposed to honor. And I don't know, like just treating players that disposable is really weird to me. I'm not used to it, and I've never seen this in my life, and I think recently, especially last 2 years, I think it has become a lot more than it.
Yeah, but like the 100 Thieves situation, I think everyone can kind of say, right, they're a new org. Yeah, everyone basically shit on them for the Cody Sun situation.
Thing is, for them, sorry to interrupt, but like for them, I kind of know obviously the background of it, so I can't really dive in too deep. But I know that they try to handle it as professional as possible, basically giving them the ability to, like, even they got so much flack for the media situation, and that's make no sense either, because I actually know the stuff that happened in the background where it's just one of these try to keep it silent. At least that's from what I know, simply because they didn't want to like do anything bad for the reputation of that player with that moment.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's what Nate said when he came on. So
that's where they came from. So I think maybe for them it's a special case, especially because they're also new in League of Legends, what it is. But yeah, like it's just for me, like it actually hurts my soul to like talk about this too, like in terms of like players being disposable with this, because like I've been in certain situations too, that where I was treated as a disposable like player, like basically just a marketing tool, whatever it is. Like I've been in that situation, and being in that situation is always terrible.
All right, so I think we're finally done with the topic. Vice versa virtue. Do you wanna say anything as we say goodbye?
No, just shout outs to Alienware, Movement, and then OG sponsor Tidy Cats, right?
Yeah, so. Thank you so much. You can leave now. Thank you for calling in. Congrats on the TSM topic. You are a celebrity now. Catch you later.